What is it now? 89 days until the start of training camp. 89 days to the start of training camp in late July. Are you ready? All the things that, you guys keep saying, you got plenty of time. You got 89 days until you take 90 guys to training camp. Okay? I mean, you're here. Guys are going to go on the field this weekend. You're going to get a chance to see the rookies. They're going to overload the players this weekend on what their responsibilities are going to be. There's no question that when you're a rookie and you go into these OTAs, you know what the coaches are looking for? If you can retain the information that they're trying to teach you. They're gonna give you play after play, technique after technique, and they want to see the ones that are going to have impactful seasons this coming 26 year. Very rarely do you see rookies have impact like you did with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Very rarely. Last year, you had limited guys making limited impact on your team. When you look at the current group here, the question mark will be again, what kind of impact do you think these rookies are going to have on your football season this coming year? I don't know really where people see where you're going to get a lot of impact outside of the number one overall pick. The rest of these guys have to figure out where their role is and what their role is going to be. The coaches have to figure that out. You have no idea. I don't. So I can't make an assessment here on Wednesday, April 29th. That's not going to happen. I don't know, nor do you. But again, what you see, and I get a ton of these on my DMs. Sills, we had an A-plus draft. Sills, we got a guy who's going to make an – look, that's fan talk, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with fan talk. Reality talk is these players got to find a role on this team. There's a lot of good football players on the Eagles. You're just not pushing Mekhi Becton like you did a couple of years out the door because you had a guy in Tyler Steen. If you think you're going to draft a kid in the draft and all of a sudden you're going to put Bell in there in front of Steen, that's not happening. Steen actually played the most snaps of any offensive player last year. You're not just going to freaking replace that guy. There's a couple more dates that I think you should keep in mind. Or I should say a couple more times on the calendar. And that's going to be, okay, June 1, salary cap casualties, and also you could still make deals and trades. And I'll tell you this, without the Jonathan Greenard deal, that's a very mediocre haul of players that you think are going to be an impact on this current football team. Now, again, Howie didn't do anything wrong here. He went best player available. There's no doubt he went best player. Okay? So, when a guy came at him and he was on the board, he didn't really look at need. It kind of matched up, though. Listen, do I think he addressed some of the issues on the football team with some of the players with potential? Yes. Other than that, we won't know. And I don't think you drafted anybody that's going to take anybody's job. There's nobody you've drafted that's going to take anybody's job. And again, Mekhi Lemon is going to be given a job. He's not going to earn a job. He's going to be given a job. To sit there and say that Mekhi Lemon is a better football player than Hollywood Brown or even Elijah Moore is insane. This guy's never run a route against an NFL secondary in his entire life. Hey, he may get into this new offense and he just may flourish. No question about it. And again, you see this here? Here's the one thing with Stowers. He can't block. Well, obviously, you haven't done things for the run game, like everyone is telling you. And to sit there and say that Stowers is going to be an impact when your tight end has never been an impactful player on your team is insane. Based on what? The tight end position has been the number 3 position in the offense the last 5 years. And all of a sudden, Stowers is now better than Dallas Goedert. Is that what you're saying? Again, that's wishful thinking and fan talk. Stowers is not a better ball player than Dallas Goedert. He's not a better ball player. Goddard's a really good player, guys. And to sit there and take his job, it would be incredibly ignorant to think that you're just going to walk in and take a 5+ year veteran's gig because they drafted a guy who can't block. It's going to take time for these guys to get their game up to the speed level of the NFL. Okay? Okay, so if Stowers is going to be in the slot, you're giving the job to you're giving the job to the number 1 pick without him earning it. Let's see how that plays out. Stowers been on a shit school against tough college. I give him credit. Hey, dude, Vanderbilt's not a shitty program any longer. That's not a shitty program. They beat Alabama now. The nil that they have pumped into that football program, that's not your old school Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is not shitty. Okay? Vandy's not a shitty school. Look at the last couple of years at Vanderbilt, what they've had with Diego Pavia being the quarterback, and take a look at the facilities that they've added. Vanderbilt, 2 years ago, was knocking on the door at making the college football playoff. So when you sit there and say that, hey, Vanderbilt's a shitty program. Yeah, shitty program 20 years ago, 7 years ago, yes. But to sit there and say that Vanderbilt now is a shitty program, that's not the truth. Okay? It's just not the truth. All right, guys. Appreciate you coming aboard. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. As I said, hey, you are 89 days to the start of training camp. And you got a lot of news going on. And believe it or not, still the Eagles are on the front page of the sports pages in Philadelphia. Flyers and Sixers. I love everybody jumping on Joel Embiid's small bandwagon. The guy sucks. He throws up 31, and all of a sudden everyone's like, hey, an apology. And you're like, for what? The guy's been as inconsistent as Hurts is throwing the football. And you want me to sit there and go, well, hey, you see Embiid show up? It's about time he hasn't showed up in 7 months. Guy's always hurt, and he's fat. Dude, you imagine that? You're in your prime of your college, NFL, NBA, or whatever career, and you're fat. Make that make sense. Birds show just because you're drafted won't mean they play. That's right. That's right. You're on hey, listen. Hey, David, if all of those players were drafted by the Jets, all those guys are playing. When you're on a good football team, you don't play right away. You don't play right away. Because you're not beating those guys out. They're good football players. I mean, just because you drafted a guy to the Philadelphia Eagles, that means he plays? Over who? Stowers ain't playing over Goedert. And the only reason Lemon would play is because if AJ's here, he'd be in the 3-hole. That guy's not beating out anyone else. And who else is beating someone out? Nobody in that rookie class is beating anyone out. The real move is the Jonathan Greenard move. That's the move. And what you've done is you've drafted for the future. This 2026 Eagle draft was for the future. For the future. That's what it's for, okay? Hit the like button. Appreciate you very much. Thank you again. We're going to get into the topics here. By the way, Battle Royale will be with us. That will be at 4:30 with Mark Holmes and with Philly 500. Also, Big Z will be with us at 3:30. Okay. So what do you think are the remaining holes on the team for the Eagles? What would be the remaining holes? Okay. Guys are going in a good place. Here's the remaining holes that I see on the team. Eagles' remaining holes on the team right now are safety, interior of the offensive line still, and also depth in the defensive tackle position. Those are still areas where you need production. Hey, by the way, I want to make a point on who you drafted. Just because you drafted bodies didn't mean you drafted talent. Just because you have people on the depth chart, that doesn't mean they're good. Stowers a breakdancer, and breakdancers get broke. Yeah, well, listen, there's a place for a guy like that in a spread offense. You don't have a spread offense. So the one thing that I come away with folks and what they've been saying about the Eagle draft, just because at the end of the day you drafted guys and you addressed it in the draft, my position still is safety, interior O-line, and interior defensive line in depth. Depth and depth in the offensive line. Hey, Sills, what about the Miami kid and the Georgia kid? Great. Last year, you had zero impact by any player you drafted in the offensive line. And they were pretty much in the same area where you drafted. Okay, so we have to wait and see if these guys, any of them, step up and step in and can make an impact on the team. The hate is real. Give him a chance. I am giving him a chance. I'm not sure what you're listening to, guy. I just got through saying for you to feel better about yourself that on April 29th, I don't know what you have. Give him a chance. That means you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't give anybody the benefit of the doubt. To assume something is trouble. Hope is not a strategy. Still, the Greenard move also helps the depth with Nolan. That's right. Nolan, I believe, is not going to be a starter as well. But I do believe that he could be somebody that could be a situational pass rusher for you and come in and be impactful. That's all it is, Jimbo. It's not being negative in any way towards these young kids. It's let's see it. Hey, step in like Q and Cooper. That was incredible what those guys did. Do you give Ruben Bain the benefit of the doubt? Fuck no. Absolutely not. I don't give Fernando Mendoza the benefit. Dude, this is a different world. College ball and NFL football have nothing to do with one another. Zero. These are grown-ass men. College versus the NFL, it's like the moon and the sun. I mean, it has zero impact. You have to go out and prove every single day that you belong. Listen, I think the potential's there. I think he has a shot. It looks like the potential. I question him in pass coverage. That was one of the issues that he had when he was at Missouri, was pass coverage. And their linebackers the last couple of years have struggled when it comes to covering tight ends and backs out of the backfield. I think he's a downhill guy, 260 pounds. I think he looks pretty good, but at the end of the day, I want to see how they're going to hide him Okay, how they're going to hide him in pass coverage. Seals Greenard will be a different player outdoors. His game, which relies heavily on quickness and bend to get around tackles, appeared to thrive on the fast and consistent turf on the dome. That's a phenomenal take. That's a phenomenal take. Plays inside. However, Hollywood, got to look at the division he plays in. He does play in Chicago and Green Bay. And he's been a pretty good football player at those places as well. I get it. Detroit, Minnesota are inside, but Chicago and Green Bay are outside. So, and he's been pretty productive against those teams. Look, like I said, he's a good football player, man. He's a proven player. I have no issues with that guy being added to the front seven. I said it the day they acquired him. It made the front seven better. They're a good football team. Okay? I mean, he's a good football player. So it's just a curious question. Which first-round rookie do you think would make the immediate impact? Caleb Downs. He's the most polished kid, and he is the most ready rookie of anybody on defense, in my opinion. I might think that he's the best rookie that was drafted in the first round. Get this. You know what you have on your resume when you're Caleb Downs? You won a scholarship at Alabama and Ohio State, and it was like nothing to the kid. That kid could have went 2 years ago in the first round. That's how good that guy is. Okay? I mean, Downs is a phenomenal prospect. Listen, anytime you talk rookie, potential prospect, you can't say great player. You don't know it yet. Okay? Let's see here. Here's another idiotic comment by a guy who knows shit about football. Arch Manning's like a newborn deer trying to walk across ice. He'll never be league ready. Actually, the opening game against Matt Patricia's defense, remember something. Matt Patricia's defense a year ago produced how many first rounders? 3. Wait, Downs, Reese, Sonny Styles. He had 3 first-round picks a year ago that he developed on his defense. And at the end